Hey everybody, Fable 5 is back. I don't know if you've heard, but if you're an AI aficionado, fan, follower, learner, if you haven't heard that yet, you've been under a rock. That being said, I'll give you a little bit of the background over the last few days, what's actually happened. So, when after the US government locked it down and made sure that only a certain group could even look at it or experiment with it, the folks at Anthropic went to work very hard, very quickly to dispel the fears that it could be jailbroken. Jailbroken, for those of you who aren't aware of the term, it really takes its guardrails off. It allows all the full power of what it can do with none of the governance and morality that we try to impart on it. Now, anybody who follows me, knows me, understands this channel, understands my working world, governance to me is critical. It's key. I think the government may have gone a little too far in how they did this. However, working towards making sure that things do keep a good set of governance is, I think, quite important. So on the 26th of June, the US government approved Mythos 5 access to a very tight set of US organizations. And that was kind of a partial thaw. Let's, let a few places play with it. June 27th to 29th, no major public release, but there were Anthropic, Amazon, and some other government reviewers were still working through it and compiling their findings. That kind of shifted it from model banned to what can we do to actually thaw this entirely. June 30th, export controls were lifted. Anthropic announced that Fable 5 would return globally today, July 1st. And effectively that ends the blackout, thaws it entirely. Also, on that day, Anthropic said it had trained a stronger safety classifier targeting the reported Amazon bypass. It says specific technique that was used in that, we'll call it a hack. It's been blocked in over 99% of the cases. Now, that was the technical concession used that lifted it. And so today, Fable 5 back in business. I'm a big fan. Fable 5 is an extremely powerful, very capable model. I'm going to re-criticize this though. They're releasing it for free inside your subscription until, I believe it's the 14th. I'm just scanning through some notes here. I believe it's until the 14th. What that effectively does for me is they're giving you a little bit, get you used to it. It's incredibly powerful. It works. There are people, do some looking, look at some of the things that people are one-shotting. It's crazy. They're building, one fellow was building a race car game cockpit, and it had all the functionality in like instantly, minutes. Very cool. Locally hosted. Again, don't confuse this with I'm going to build an organization and a company in minutes or even days, really. But it gets you so far. It's incredible. Now, they get you in there, they get you hooked, and you either step back a model or you start paying with API usage, which is going to be far more expensive. So, you know what they're doing. And there is some rumor, some concern that this is a hype game. Anthropic is going to go public, and they're going to go public with the biggest public release ever. And it was going to go, and it was going to go big. Now, all of a sudden, there's this controversy. They're in the news. They're in everybody's news. I know, it's a bit cynical. I'm on the fence. I like to think the best of people. I like to think the best of organizations until they prove me wrong. Couple of really good use cases. You've got a limited amount of time, so now it's time to hurry. We got to get in there. We got to use it. Got to get going. What you do is you take your top 3 or 4 builds, whatever is the most complex, or whatever you think you're building that's going to be the most functional and or profitable if you're trying to build something yourself. And here's how I went about it. And I don't think for 1 minute that I am going to give you anything that's incredibly different than what anybody else is doing. What I do is I go into the highest model you've got, in this case, Fable, on the highest. Because this is the planning phase. And I can tell you this, in my experience in projects of any sort, if you have a bulletproof plan that is very well detailed, very well constructed, you can hand it to a less experienced project manager or coder or builder, whatever. I take it, and you're only allowed, this is another caveat, you're only allowed 50% of your usage to come from Fable. And I hit my usage window in the first half an hour. The 5-hour usage window that they tell you have, that everybody was bumping up against before. And I build in context window friendly chunks. I may not be the best at it. However, it's always there on my mind. It's always part of it. In this one, what I did was I said, okay, you're a frontier model developer. You operate at the highest level. You know what it takes to create and modify models. Long story short, what I'm trying to build here is something that assesses the other types of models. It's not all LLMs. There's the fella from Microsoft, Jan, he proposes a JEPA, J-E-P-A. And there's a couple others that are out there, but you and I don't know if it actually is going to work. Will it fit on my system? Will it do what I need it to do? What I'm building here is a host for agents like Codex and Claude Code to go in and on the everyday machine. Again, my machine's slightly bigger than everyday. Nothing crazy though. On the everyday machine, this thing is going to take these various models and stress test them. Stress test them against what you're doing, what you're building, what you want it to accomplish. And then it'll suggest modifications in theory. It's sort of a next evolution. Anyway, big focus, big long-term focus. And I thought, okay, what better to use for that than the big boy model that is going to plan it out and do the vision. It went through and it did a full audit, did a full discipline check, findings. I came back with, okay, I agree with this, I disagree with that, I challenge you. Don't ever let your LLMs, whichever model, whichever make, don't just take the first iteration. I promise you they have mistakes. And I also promise you that they don't see your vision. They only interpret what's there. They can model things quite well, but they're going to miss your vision. You have to go, and these are the stages that you spend the time. You spend the time here, you spend a few extra tokens here, and you're going to have a much better product. I roll through, it comes back, okay, brilliant. Robert's your father's brother. Now we've got a plan. I come back up here, and as you can see, it's been working pretty hard. But I did not put this on Fable. You can use Fable for a bit because it's a little less token heavy in the app and while you're just discussing and planning. But when you come in here, this is really, really quite token heavy. And again, you only get 50% and you get your daily usage limit comes hammering up on you quickly and it's bam, all of a sudden you're out. So I dropped it down and started going through. This repo was already built. So it already had my new build agents, governance structure, document control structure. I don't know if any of you ever actually pay attention to these videos, but if you look down here and at any of the builds that I show you, it's always the same. I don't deviate for a lot of really good reasons. Consistency leads to repeatability, and then when you do want to deviate, it's because you've found a better way that can be applied everywhere. If it works here, it has to work there, or it wasn't a great solution. It builds it out in chunks that are, again, I will say this all the time, context window friendly chunks. Does verification phases. Off you go. You've got now world-class planning that you're only going to be able to use for a few days, and you're only going to be able to use, in my case, with the number of builds I do, half an hour a day for a few days. So put it to work. Think of top builds. Think of everything that you want to accomplish. Think of what's going to make you the most, if you're trying to ship, what's going to make you the most money, what's going to make the best sense, what's going to make your customers happier. And customer isn't just somebody who pays you money. Customer is somebody that if you share it to a repo up on GitHub and somebody sees it and you're opening it up and it's public, they're going to see it, and if they can pull it down and use it, brilliant. If they can pull it down and improve it, even better. Always think about the end user, the customer. How is somebody else going to be able to benefit from what I'm building? And while you're learning on this journey, start with the end in mind. Start with, what do I want if this whatever I'm building never existed? What would it ideally look like? These tools have the ability to do that now. You can take almost anything you can conceive, put it on a good, really well-structured prompt. Don't ever forget, too, when people tell you, oh, you can just speak back and forth with it. Yes, you can. Completely you can. But it's not ideal. You still need a good prompt. Anthropic, for instance, has prompting suggestions for Fable. There are subtleties that are a bit different. So, trying to cut it off here. I don't have any actual demonstration to show you other than go through, use the high-end models to plan. Go ahead and use the lower models to execute. That's really where you're going to become more token friendly. And for those of you who do it for the environment, that's how you help. That's how you make a difference. These systems aren't going away. You're not going to be able to fight them. It's now time to say, how do I optimize them? And how do I optimize my use for energy efficiency and, in this case, deliverables? Thank you very much, everybody. I hope you had, well, for everybody in Canada, it is Canada Day. Happy Canada Day. I hope you had a great day. Got to spend some time with your family and friends. Got to spend some time outdoors. Where I am, it's been a very swampy few weeks. Today we got a phenomenal window. So I hope everybody again got outside. It's good for your mental health. It's good for your physical health. Got to step away from these screens every once in a while. You guys all take care and look after yourselves and look after each other.